What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, The Goods, and we're back for episode number 57 of The Great Ace Attorney. And absolutely, I have no intention of squandering a single opportunity, my lord. It seems all you Japanese are fiercely tenacious. Very well, proceed, counsel. We're going to cross-examine what we heard last time. Specifically, we're going to press them on Statement 5. Hold it! Did you carry out the plan in its entirety?
I did everything I could at the time.
As you know, Genshin Asogi was shot dead in Logate Cemetery after the escape. Tell me, was that part of the plan too?
My instructions were to do with getting the junk out of the jail and nothing more. I cannot tell you anything about what happened after that. Only, personally, I believe his death was
The last part of the plan. Mr. Vigil, is something wrong? Yes, sir. What can I do for you, sir? He's saluting now? What is it? Some sort of Barclay convention? What Governor Caden was saying seemed to upset you. Did it bring something to mind, perhaps? For the last 10 years, I've completely blotted out the memories of that time from my mind. I was betrayed by my superiors, in the name of my country. Just as my father was betrayed, it seems. But you see, thinking back now, I really can't imagine that the shooting of Mr. Asogi in the cemetery was ever part of the plan. What makes you think that? Well, it just doesn't make sense, does it? To make the man admit to crimes he didn't commit, with the promise of a jailbreak, only to kill him in the end. That's treachery of the worst kind. But the point is, if the intention was always to betray him, why would there be any need of all the chicaneries of an escape? Ugh.
Yes, that's quite true. If whoever negotiated with Asogi never intended to keep his or her end of the bargain, it would have been far simpler to let the man be executed in prison as dictated by his sentence.
It all happened in that vast chamber of secrets at his Barclay, behind the high prison walls. I suppose nobody knows what really went on in the execution room now. Yes, it's an unsettling mystery, certainly.
Truth be told, there's a wee matter that's never quite made sense to me. If you believe there was some kind of negotiation behind the jailbreak between Asogi and the body at the top, it does not quite add up, does it?
Governor Caden, I must insist that you explain these doubts you have by amending your formal testimony.
Guys, alright, go then. It seems to me that the Japanese fella didn't have nothing to bargain with.
Sorry, I got invited to a
Pokemon Go raid.
We need to present the Asogi papers, is what we need to do. Wherever the fuck those are at this point. There it is. Objection! Objection! Confessing under oath to murders he didn't commit on a verbal assurance of later being broken out of prison. Genshin Asogi was taking an incredibly risky gamble. Very true. There was nothing to stop the British breaking their word and executing him behind closed doors anyway. Under normal circumstances, no man would stake his life on a gentleman's agreement like that. Which means that Mr. Asogi must have had a trump card. Something that guaranteed he wouldn't be betrayed. Some kind of weapon.
Irish, Lieutenant could not possibly have had anything like that.
But you know that he did, Governor. The Asogi Papers. The name given to the last will and testament of Genshin Asogi. It turns out that Mr. Asogi was hiding his will in his cell at Barclay. Chief Warder Vigil caught him with it one day.
Yeah. Hey, Squirrel, don't you know what, right? Didn't I tell you to keep that a secret?
You can't touch me now.
Ah!
When Mr. Vigil caught sight of that will through the bars of the convict's cell, Mr. Asogi pleaded with the warder. Alright then, but what's on that paper? A lost will and testament. This will is the only weapon I have left now.
A weapon?
And after the convict had been killed following the elaborate pretense of the jailbreak, that document mysteriously disappeared, didn't it? Well, yes. All the prison warders searched through the belongings in his cell, but that will was just nowhere to be found. As I understand it, an exhaustive search was made for the document, which became known as the Asogi Papers. Governor Caden, I believe you ordered your prison staff to find it at all costs, didn't you? Would I be right in saying that you knew that the so-called Asogi Papers had potential to make great waves somehow?
Jeez, what the blazes are you blathering about? The will was found, right in proper, in a fella's cell where I say you'd be.
But how can that be? Where in his cell? We all searched the place from top to bottom.
Well, you didn't do a proper job, eh, you pilly-wally galoot?
You can't criticize me now!
I showed it to you before, did I know, you liar?
Yes, you did. I have the document here. It's written in Japanese and reads, "The Last Will and Testament of Genshin Asogi." Which means everything is as it should be. Not quite, my lord. You see, there's an undeniable inconsistency here. What? What inconsistency? Mr. Asogi described this document as the only weapon he had left. And yet, this will contains nothing of significance at all. Nothing that would have given the convict any leverage.
Are you suggesting, my learned friend, that the last will and testament stored at Barclay Prison all these years is actually a fake?
As has clearly been demonstrated already, what went on at Barclay Prison was far from above board. That last vilification by the defense was an affront to the entire British legal system. This absurd notion of a weapon is something for which we only have the former chief warder's word. The man could quite easily be lying, or at the very least sorely mistaken. What? No, I definitely heard him say that, I swear! Clearly we need to get to the bottom of this. We need to know exactly what happened with these so-called Asogi Papers. A waste of time! If the will was fake, where's the real document? Mr. Vigil was stabbed in the back by the judiciary 10 years ago. He lost everything, very nearly his own life. And now you're going to do it again. You're ready to brand him a liar and turn your back on him without even letting him defend himself!
It's clear that Barclay Prison's hiding something.
It's clear the jailbreaker's masterminding, but it's clear that something bad happening. Your lordship is going to gloss over these reprehensible and obvious facts.
What did you say? We should hear more from the chief warder.
Let him testify again.
The trial must go on. The man's voice must be heard. It would seem that a vocal few here are utterly blind to the truth. Very well then, let the witness testify again. Tell the court precisely what you think you saw of the convict's last will and testament. Yes, sir, my lord. Alright, here we go. Here we go. We are absolutely getting there. We're absolutely getting there. As the warder responsible for the condemned convicts, I attended to Mr. Asogi and kept watch over his cell. The night after he was found guilty in court, he was doing something with that will in his cell. We turned the cell inside out looking for it after the execution, but to no avail. I only found out about the Asogi Papers when a directive came telling me to impound them. The document was in the folds of the fella's robe that was left in his cell. The kimono, I think it's called.
In his kimono? That's a lie. We searched every inch of the man's cell. We looked through all his clothes. It can't be true.
You ain't satisfied with calling me a liar to what, eh? You laughing, eh?
Ha, there's nothing you can do about it now. You don't have any hold over me anymore. Other than the hold you like to take in my cravat, of course. Is that what you're going to do, is it? Are you gonna give me a good shake again, or are you too scared? Ah! Little and large, what a double act.
We complied with Asogi's will as far as possible. All of his personal effects were delivered to his family home in Japan. As a courtesy to the homeland of the most notorious killer our country has ever seen.
And we were much obliged. I can confirm that all of my father's belongings arrived safely.
Aye, and you cannot deny the handwriting is that of your old man, eh?
Yes, there's no mistaking that it is my father's brushwork. Really?
And this last will and testament was the man's last weapon, was it? I think we can safely assume that the convict was merely prattling, knowing that his end was nigh. So, counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, please. Yes, my lord.
I mean, okay. So we need to press, again, statement 5.
Hold it! Because that's fucking bullshit.
Mr. Asogi's kimono.
Aye, the one he brought with him when he was locked up.
Yes, he was permitted to have his personal effects with him during his incarceration, I understand.
That's right, he was granted as much freedom as possible during the few days before his execution.
Indeed, he had a number of items of personal significance, I remember. He was very reluctant to part with them. Some books, that kimono, his sword. His sword? Karuma, the famous sword of the Asogi clan. It bears the soul of my family. I don't doubt it, but I wasn't really getting at that. Forget about it being the soul of the clan. Could the man have had a more obvious weapon? Have some respect, Ryunosuke. Respectful silence?
The wardens carry firearms at all times, and the inmates have shackles around their ankles. He couldn't have hurt anybody with that thing.
Still, he was allowed a sword but no writing materials?
Aye. He wrote that will before he came to stay with us in Barclay, you see.
Dr. Mikotoba was asked to bring the necessary Japanese writing implements to the prosecutor's office.
Also, there inkstone, black stony ink, and some Hanshi rice paper, no doubt.
I was present when he wrote it. But I'm sorry to say, the letters just look like a squimming mass of jet black earthworms to me.
Are you feeling faint, Mr. Vigil?
Mr. Vigil! Sir, it was Scarlet, sir.
What? Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean to blurt it out like that. Less swaying and more explaining would be helpful.
Is it something about the testimony we just heard? Have you recalled something of importance?
Something of importance, possibly, or rather not.
I'm unable to tell which way he's leaning, I'm afraid.
My lord, the defense asked that Mr. Vigil be permitted to supplement his testimony with this possibly or possibly not important detail. Permission granted!
Go ahead, Mr. Vigil.
Yes, it was Scarlet.
Okay, so then, on the new statement, present Clint's autopsy report.
Objection! Scarlet colored writing is what you said you thought you saw, Mr. Vigil. And I believe that's exactly what you did see. Ugh.
I was again. You've no evidence to say that.
Have a look at this report.
That's my brother's autopsy report.
Yes, and there's something in here that's bothered me since I first read it. It states that scarlet-colored ink stains were noted on the fingers of the victim's right hand.
Yes, so
Yes, so it does. Scarlet ink.
Now, I'm not familiar with the habits of the British aristocracy, I freely admit. But I would hazard a guess that
They don't all go around with ink stains on their fingertips, do they?
your wit is not appreciated. My brother was a well-bred and fastidious man. Should ink have sullied his fingerprints, he would have cleaned them immediately.
What is your point, counsel? My point is this. Whatever Lord Clint Van Zieks was writing in that unusually colored ink, it must have been directly before his death, because he died before he had the opportunity to clean his hands. What?
I remember something troubled me at the time. At the scene, the lid of my brother's inkwell was open. But Clint was punctilious about such things. It seemed unusual. And no document penned in the color of the ink that was in the inkwell was ever found.
So the document had disappeared. Are you suggesting that the document my father had in his hand that night in his cell was the same document that Lord Clint Van Zieks was writing moments before his death?
Then, it was...
And Mr. Vigil's testimony is to be believed. It can only mean that yes, Mr. Vigil! Sir! When you spotted Mr. Asogi with the document in his cell, his precise words were as follows, were they not? Alright then, but what's on that paper? A lost will and testament. This will is the only weapon I have left now. A last will and testament! If the conversation really did go as Mr. Vigil says, then what we know completely changes the meaning of what Mr. Asogi said.
You really think...
Mr. Vigil did indeed see the convict with a will, but it wasn't that of Genshin Asogi. It was the last will and testament of Lord Clint Van Zieks.
No.
What?!
Objection!
This is madness. My brother's last will and testament. That would mean...
What?
that he had chosen to die.
That is what it would mean, yes.
No, impossible. That is utterly out of the question. Lord Van Zieks. Clint was pursuing the professor. It consumed him day and night. Whatever happened, he would never have abandoned his investigation before its conclusion. Never! He wouldn't rest until the job was done, until the killer was caught. The idea that he would willingly accept his own death, it's obscene!
And yet, we can be sure that he was writing his will moments before his death, and that Genshin Asogi came to be in possession of that document. So what could the will have possibly contained? Clearly something that couldn't be made public under any circumstances whatsoever. Because armed with that document, my father was able to negotiate with the judiciary for his life. It was something so damning that it prompted the powers that be to enact that daring jailbreak plot. Yes, there can be no question that the will contained information of the utmost secrecy. Information of the utmost secrecy. Ah! No, it couldn't be!
I've heard more than enough! Pursuing this notion of a phantom that nobody can attest to have seen serves a... Jesus Christ. Pursuing this notion of a phantom that nobody can attest to having seen serves absolutely no purpose.
No, my lord, that's unacceptable.
What did you say, counsel?
The last will and testament that Genshin Asogi had in his possession was that of Lord Clint Van Zieks. All the testimony and evidence presented to the court has logically led us to that as a possibility. We have a duty to pursue the line of reasoning to its conclusion.
But with no possible means of knowing the contents of the document, there's no line of reasoning to pursue.
A reason why Lord Clint Van Zieks, a man of high noble standing, would have chosen death. Information so secret, people in the judiciary would be willing to negotiate the jailbreak of a condemned killer. The only explanation that fits those facts is an unthinkable truth that turns absolutely everything on its head. But it's just too hideous.
Mr. Naruhodo, however difficult the situation might become, you work with your client in pursuit of the truth. That's what you resolved to do when you entered the courtroom this morning, if I'm not mistaken.
Miss Usato.
So hold your head high and keep soldiering on!
Yes, you're right. 10 years ago, in his final moments, Lord Clint Van Zieks left behind a will. A will that Genshin Asogi was able to use as a weapon to negotiate his escape from prison. In all probability, the details in the will were related to the Professor case.
The defense's last statement is mere conjecture.
What are you getting at, man?
Ryunosuke! As soon as these words come out of my mouth, there's no going back. I believe the last will and testament of Lord Clint Van Zieks was in fact a confession.
You can do this, Mr. Naruhodo.
I believe that what Lord Clint Van Zieks actually penned that day was a confession. A confession. Regarding the mass murderer known as the Professor. And his true identity.
Objection!
Enough, Council. What are you saying? Do you even realize? A confession about the true identity of the Professor. That would mean...
Lord Van Zieks, I appreciate this must be hard to take in. But it's the only explanation that fits. The killer that terrorized London a decade ago and became known as the Professor, the man believed to have murdered 5 members of the aristocracy, wasn't Genshin Asogi at all. No, you can't be suggesting. It was in fact the man believed to have been the 5th victim. Lord Clint Van Zieks himself!
It's finally open, is it? Pandora's box.
The great Van Zieks family have been thoroughbreds of the British judiciary for years.
And Lord Clint Van Zieks, he was a paragon of justice in the capital.
But he was actually a mass murderer, a perpetrator of atrocities of the vilest nature.
If the general public ever found out, law and order in this country would be finished.
My brother.
Oh, this is too awful. Poor Lord Van Zieks.
I wonder though, did he never suspect?
Mr. Naruhodo?
Lord Beric Van Zieks is a brilliant prosecutor. Is it conceivable that he didn't realize what his older brother really was?
Order! Order! Order in the court!
Lord Van Zieks. The Professor made use of an enormous hound as his murder weapon. Tell me, did your brother own a dog?
Yes, he did. Balmung. He was a well-known hunting dog. People called him a giant.
I don't believe this.
When my brother would go hunting in the forest at the grounds behind the house, he always took Balmung. After Clint's death, the creature passed away too, almost as if he were following his master. He was a magnificent hunting dog, worthy of the jewel-studded collar around his neck.
A jewel-studded collar?
That's right. Though sadly, some years ago now it was stolen by a thief who broke into the house one night.
A jewel-studded collar stolen by a thief. It so happens that myself and my colleagues have come across such a collar during our time in London.
How could you?
There was an old emblem attached to the collar, too, made of pure gold. It was topped with a small crown and bore an ornate capital letter B.
What? An emblem bearing the initial B!
Oh my, you know it?
It's the insignia of the Baskerville family.
What? The Baskerville?
Wait, what? The Baskerville? Why is that name coming up now?
Baskerville is the family name of my late brother's widow. That pure gold emblem was an heirloom which Clint acquired upon their marriage. There can be no doubt then. The collar you've described was Balmung's.
The family insignia of Lord Clint Van Zieks' widow.
There was a considerable amount of blood on the collar when we saw it. Since we know the dog was used for hunting, it could have been from its quarry, of course. But it could equally have been from human prey.
So is it true, Ian?
Clint Van Zieks really was a professor. Impossible! These Japanese are making it all up to exonerate their own.
He was honoring Beric Van Zieks is who we're defending, by the way. So in fact, the person responsible for— I know they're talking about Genshin, but whatever. The person responsible for these murders of nobles and royals was a noble himself. And that threatened to be an enormous scandal that would irrevocably destabilize British society. My father knew that, and was using it to negotiate his way out of the unjust charges brought against him. But at the very last hour, those he'd bargained with betrayed him, slaying him mercilessly on foreign soil. Well, can you deny it, Lord Strongheart?
10 years have passed. And still now the 6 million inhabitants of our great capital rest easy believing that justice was done. I'm actually going to end the episode here early, and we will continue next time with this. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time,
Where we continue.
Bye bye.